Hello everyone, Michael Lee Parker here for another session here on YouTube, and we're talking about where's my money? Now I know that's a good question because this is something we're always trying to stay on top of. I don't care who you are, if you are a business leader, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a mom, a father, a brother, a sister, single or married, it doesn't matter. We're trying to keep track of our money. We want to know what is going on with our money. In fact, if you want to really be successful, you have to be very good at really being precise about what's going on with your resources, what's going on with your money. How can you actually make sure you're using your money in the best way? Now, if you're like most people, when people think about money and managing money, they get a little bit stressed because sometimes, there's different personalities. There's people who want to count every little thing and they just really, get, immersed with it and they're just all in. There's people who just don't want to think about it and they just totally, they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with their bills. They want to deal with money. They just want to live life. Money just kind of gets in the way. Why can't I just have money when I need it and just forget about it? And so there's all these different mindsets, right? And then there's mindsets about how to make money, right? And we talk sometimes on some of the episodes about just the mentality that people have about money. And people can have different perspectives. Some, think money is measured in things. Others use a lot of debt to live, a life that's beyond really their means and what they really can afford. And then some use money to make more money. And they just continually do this over and over. And this is, again, a principle thing when we think about being responsible and growing our wealth. But before we can do any of that, we have to have a way to stay on top of our money and to be able to always answer that question, where is my money? So today, I want to talk to you about what I feel is the ultimate money management solution. Now, I'm biased because I am the inventor and founder of an application called Money CEO. And this is created by and through you, our CEO, because just as well we have to be the CEO of our life, we have to be the CEO of our money because our money is very, very connected to our life because, in fact, it is through money that we can do things for our life. So I want to talk to you today about a scenario, and I'm going to be actually doing some special episodes just about this solution and how it works. Now, because this solution is not just an ordinary financial solution. This is actually a solution that you have to actually understand something and be coached a little bit about how money works. And once you understand how money works, you understand some of the ins and outs, then you'll really understand why this is such a powerful solution, and you'll be running to use this. This is an excellent tool, especially for people that are trying to learn more about money and they don't want to think about all the rules and want something that does all that for them. People that are entrepreneurs and trying to make sure their money doesn't get commingled, their personal money with their business money. This is another great avenue for that. Couples that are trying to really stay on top of their money and having one place to go where they both can stay unified and connected to what's actually happening. If you are an individual that is trying to stabilize your financial situation, or someone who's trying to prepare for an ultimate goal, right, of buying a home, buying a house, meeting a particular goal, getting to a state where you're the most qualified for a lender to lend you money. Whatever your situation is, this is a solution that will help you to do that. And this is why I'm so excited to be talking to you about this today. So let's jump in. I see some of you that are joining me here live. It's so great to have you all here. I want to tell you about an individual, and this is going to be our kind of demo account for today that we're going to use. So this is a fictional person, but based on real life scenarios. So I want to introduce you to April Carson. And April Carson, she is 28 years old. She's single. She likes to dress kind of a classic style. She's a working professional. She enjoys the finer things in life. April has a goal to purchase a new sports car one day. April has been impacted due to multiple credit cards she has maxed out. April recently received her yearly bonus and is trying to determine the best way to pay off her credit card. So these are some things going on with April, and all of us have something that we can relate to about April's story in some way. We all got something we're dealing with, something we got going on, something we're trying to work through as it relates to money. Now, we're gonna take a minute and we're gonna go into April's account and we're gonna talk about how to use this solution. I'm gonna only cover a portion of this today, so stay tuned. All throughout this week, I'm gonna be coming back with episodes. We're gonna go deeper into this powerful solution and what it can really do. All right, so let's jump in. So I'm gonna pull up my laptop here. And we are going to cut over to Money CEO. So you can see here we have Money CEO, and I want you to notice here we have a login, and we are in the web application. So I want you to understand there are 3 ways to connect with Money CEO. You can connect by web, like on a computer or on your iPad or on a laptop. These are all ways to connect with Money CEO. But you also, as you see down below, in the App Store as well as in the Google Play Store, you can access our apps. So we have these on mobile applications as well as on the web. But today, we're going to use the web. And I always want to encourage people to use the web. Things are just kind of fun and big, so it's just, kind of fun to use. But when you're on the go, it's great to have that mobile app because it's quick and it's right there with you. You got your phone with you all the time, and you can check on things. So I want you to notice here, April has already set up her account. She has her email and her password. So we want to make sure this solution is very secure. So I want you all to understand this is a very secure platform. We're very, very cautious about making sure we do everything to protect everyone's information. So we have the email and password. But I want you to notice when I log in here, it then asks me for a PIN. And this is what you call 2-factor authentication. So we want to make sure there are 2 factors to allow someone to come in. Now, on your phone, you can connect this with your face identifier for some of the mobile applications if you choose to do that, or your fingerprint. You can use all those things as a way you want to enter Money CEO, or you can also use a PIN number, right? So April has a PIN number here. I'm going to type that in. And we should be able to enter in to April's account here. So we are in. And you can see here, Money CEO is greeting April. Hello, April. And gives the date there. So I want you to understand, in this nice, clean design, understanding what is going on in April's world. So first and foremost, there's a few things that you see here. I won't go into all of this now. But there is a quick start guide. When you first come into Money CEO for the first time, there's a quick start guide. And if I was to click on that, you can see there's a guide of what to do to kind of set things up. This is not our subject today, but there is a way to let you know exactly what you need to do to get started. There's also a tutorial on every single page. So make sure you're aware of this, that whenever you're in Money CEO, we update these all the time. We're going to be updating this even more. But when you click on these tutorials, you are able to go to a tutorial and actually get a walkthrough about how to use a particular application. Here's an example of walking through a specific area. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind. Every page has that tutorial. So you can see this is an overall tutorial about Money CEO. This one is specific to adding accounts. And we're going to get to this information here below in just a minute. But I want you to know, how does Money CEO even get any information about you, right? So you have to give information to Money CEO for it to know what to tell you about your financial situation. So I want you to notice up here, you can add an account manually, and this is just something you can type in, and you can say, I have this bank account, I got this credit card, I got this investment account, whatever that might be. Of course, that is not recommended unless you really need to, because the beauty of using Money CEO is you can connect to real financial institutions. So when you actually click to connect, you're able to connect here through a solution that we use. And this is a solution that is tapped into, thousands of banks. And this is all safe and falling under the security guidelines of banking. And you could see here, you could just about find every major bank. So you can see here from Chase to Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and, there's all sorts of different banks in here that you could find. So, any bank that you want to tap into. So I'm going to do, let me see. There's a Travis Credit Union. This is a credit union I know some people in the military are in, right? So you can type in and find that. Or let's try U.S. Bank. Okay, here's U.S. Bank, right? So there's all kinds of, there's a credit union called Patelco. There's Patelco, right? These are all Here's another credit union, Mary West, right? So you can think about just any banking institution. For the most part, you're going to be able to find it in Money CEO. And here's all you're really doing. When you come into Money CEO, you're using the same credentials that you use to log in to your bank with your online banking. So the same username and password that you use, that is what you use. And if your bank has two-factor identification, there's things that we do to make sure all that is connected and you can get through using our platform. And once you do that, it'll show you the different bank accounts that you have in that institution, and you can choose which ones you want to come into Money CEO. So you can say, I want account 1, 2, and 3 to come in, but not 4, 5, and 6. Right? So you can decide what you want to come into Money CEO. Now, I also want you to understand this. When you add accounts to Money CEO, you are not physically moving money. You're not physically adding the account. What you are doing is giving Money CEO permission to show the information inside of Money CEO, okay? So you cannot transfer money. You can't withdraw money. So, you know, we do everything we can to make sure you are protected from any dangers. We know there's a lot of stuff going on out there with hacking and all kind of stuff. But at the worst case, even if someone came into Money CEO, even if you gave your account to someone and let them log in, all they could do is look at the information. There's nothing they could actually do. You can't withdraw money, deposit money, move money, transfer money. So that is another safety of Money CEO. This is purely giving Money CEO the right to be able to show what you can see in your online banking. Now, in your online banking, you know you can actually wire funds, you can withdraw funds, you can deposit, you can transfer. You can't do that in Money CEO, all right? So make sure you keep that in mind. All right. So we're not going to log into any accounts, but this is what you do to get that information in. And so again, this is a demo account, so everything is going to be a little bit different than normal, but it'll be enough for you to understand what's going on. So one of the ways we're knowing where our money is we're able to see our account. So you can see here this dashboard. This is letting me know at a glance the total amount of cash I have in all my bank accounts, so I can quickly understand what is my cash position right now as an individual. I can also see how much money that I need to spend based on the bills that I have remaining this month. We'll learn more about that. But the remaining bills I have as of April 10th, I have $896, or I should say April has $896 that she needs to prepare for, right, to keep that visible. And then credit available. So this is how much credit you have available to use, again, for something you may do. And you learn, in building wealth, that there's good debt and bad debt. So you learn how to use your credit in a way that makes sense, because it's a way that you're using to create more wealth. Then, so you want to keep visible, how much credit available do I have? And a lot of times when you're making critical decisions, you want to look at all the different avenues you have to access money. And credit is one of those ways. Now, right now, April doesn't have any investment accounts, but you could add an investment account. So you might have something with, Charles Schwab or Edward Jones, or you might have something at one of the banking institutions where you've got, a particular investment account, and that would all show here in this investment area. And again, you will be able to access and see everything related to your account. Okay. So let's go into the bank account area. So you can see here that April has a checking account and she has a savings account. Now, this little symbol you see here as a house, so we call this your household account. Now, the reason this is important to identify in Money CEO is because you want to tell Money CEO that this is the account that I use to pay my bills, right? To really make sure I cover the expenses in my life. So this is important for some of the coaching that Money CEO will do for you later. It's going to be evaluating how much money you have in there to cover your bills at different times and how well and efficient that you're managing your ability to cover your day-to-day living. So you want to be able to identify what that is. But let's check this checking account out. So I can go into this checking account and I can see all my transactions. Now keep in mind, this is in real time. As you spend real money, right, you are able to see the real transaction. Now, this is a demo account, so it's just showing generic stuff. But whatever you do, right, wherever you shop, wherever you go, all of that information will be seen here, right? And you will be able to understand exactly where your money went, exactly where it's spent. In fact, Money CEO will send you notifications according to the way you want it to let you know that you just spent some money, or you just paid for something. This just actually came out of your account. This came out of your credit card. So that's another great thing that you are also able to do. Now, I want you to understand too that you can see is identified as my household account. I can manually add things. So, if there's something that is not in a bank account or something that is kind of unique, I can add some, unique item that, I made some income or I had an expense that is not tracked in my bank, or someone gave me some cash, or whatever that is. There's things like that you can do as well. You can also capture transactions that are recurring all the time. So there's a lot of different things that you can do and kind of fun tips and tricks. But one thing I want you to understand, let's take something like this restaurant expense. So we're going to click on this restaurant expense. And there's I know that this is categorized as dining and restaurant. I know exactly what bank account that this is coming from, right? And I can choose to say that this particular item, it's not something that just happens sometimes. It's a bill. And if I want, I can click on Add to Bills, and it would add it to the bill section of Money CEO. This is just a little convenient way to quickly add something that you feel is a bill, right? So if I was to add that to my bills, this would actually click to add over, and I could say that this, now this shouldn't be a bill, right? Going to the steakhouse, right? I need to use a different example here. But I could click on this. I could even add an image. And I could actually say that this is a recurring bill, and I could say how often, if this happens monthly, starting from April, and it normally happens on the 18th of every month, right? Or I could say it happens on a particular day of the week, or on the first, second, third week on a Thursday, right? It can get really detailed depending on the type of bills that you have. So all of this you're able to do, and this would start showing up in your bills area, and you would be able to monitor this bill. All right. So another thing I want you to notice is you can also say that this item of going out to a restaurant, say you have a business, you can say this is really a tax write-off for me, right? And you can say I want to apply it only to this transaction, or it could be for all transactions. Say there's a service that you got that's helping you and you paying for it personally, but it's for your business. You can say that's a tax write-off, and I want to, every time you see this, identify it as a tax write-off. And I'm going to show you, how later on at the end of the year, how Money CEO will sum all that up for you so you're getting ready for, your taxes. You can also say that I want to add this to my receipts, okay? Now, when you add this to your receipts, what this will allow you to do is it will track this as a receipt of something where this is something that I'm identifying that I actually want to go take a picture of a receipt and put it in Money CEO. So not only do I remember when this happened, I've got the receipt on record to be able to go back and take a look at that. So let me show you that really quickly. Even though that's not our subject today, I'm going to sneak over to a different tab. We're going to go to this tax area. We'll talk about this more later. But you can see here is that transaction that has been added as a tax here. You can see here, this is listed, and this will show a summary of all my write-offs. And if I'm doing this all throughout the year, by the end of the year, I will see the amount of items that, that I should be seeing as a write-off. And this is very good when you're working with your accounting professionals and whoever's, your CPA, or you're doing your taxes. You can use Money CEO to kind of verify things and check things, of course. This is not, don't use this, over and above your tax advisor, but it's a great guide. You can see kind of where you should be based on this tracking. If I go to the receipt area, you can see that item is also here in the receipt area, and I could say I want to add a receipt image, right? And I can upload an image, and I don't know, I'm going to go to, know if I've got some pictures here I don't mind using, but I will come back to that. But I can come here and pick a picture, right? And if I already took a picture of my receipt, I would have that in my, you can do this from your phone or you can do this from your computer. I would add that picture, and now I would have a picture of my receipt right here for you to see. So this is a great example. In fact, let me show you how you would be able to, see if I can find a fun area to get some quick pictures here. So one of the things I want you to understand, now keep in mind, if you are able, let's take we have a picture of, I thought I had a picture of April there. But imagine for a minute, right? I want to use this kind of symbol here that we use for money management. I could put a picture of that receipt, and you can see the image pops up here. If I click on it, I will see a full screen image of that particular thing, whatever that is, right? So this is, again, the power of being able to do that. Now I'm going to go back over to the home area. And so you can see that for all that detail I have for my accounts. And then keep in mind, as you live life, this is tracking it for you. So you don't have to remember to go do this and go do that. It's literally when you come in here, it has all the latest information. Same thing with my bills. And I'm going to come back to bills in a minute. I meant to go over to credit. So for credit, you can see it has all the different credit card accounts that April has, right? And you can click on any of these accounts and see all the transactions, right? And this is all in real time, being updated for you, right? It's all updated for you. All you have to do is live life, right? It shows you where you're at with your limit, your balance, what's available, what your APR is, and it also gives you a little tip. So in this example, you can see here that a lot of here it's showing that, she needs to improve some things here. And all of this is tied to how the credit card is being used. So all this is kind of listed in here. And this is, again, you can come in here and understand exactly where your money is going in real time. All right. So that being said, you get the point. And if there's any bills, you can click on that and see what some of those bills are. And we'll talk about that. Now, I want you to notice this next section below. Now, I just love this because this really is what money management is about. Every month, every week, every day, there's a race being had, right? Of money coming in and money going out. And whoever wins that race determines how well you are managing money. So one thing that's beautiful about this, now this is April, so April is not, now I'm not talking about April, the April Carson. I'm talking about the month of April, right, as you can see here, right? But I'm going to switch this to March because March is a full month, right? And I want you to notice now the numbers have changed. You can see here $14,000 came in, $12,000 went out, money in wins. So kind of make it fun, right? And money in kind of won the race. So this is very important to understand. And this is looking at right now all of April's accounts. Now, I can switch this to a dashboard view and see it kind of like a pie where you can see the money in, money out, and the blue is the money that has been kept. Remember, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. So the key here is being able to stay on top of, am I keeping the money that I'm making? So this helps you to see that. Now, I love looking at the race as well. You might love the dashboard view, but you can choose whatever you want. Now, one thing that's really great about this is I can also choose this by account. Now, I want you to listen to this if you're a business owner out there. Now, this is another great way to leverage Money CEO for a business purpose. So if you have some of your accounts in here that you use to manage some of your business endeavors, and you want to understand real quickly at a glance, now this is not going to replace QuickBooks and all the things you're doing to run your business and do payroll and all that. But if you just want to quickly get a glance, what's going on with my business, you can click on that particular account, and this will all adjust to show you what's been going on in that account. So this is all throughout Money CEO, some creative ways. I wanted to build that in as an entrepreneur because I know how that is, where I could isolate an account and show me how that one account is performing. So in this example, we're going to just click on the checking account, and you can see now money out is winning. That's important to know because the checking account was April's household account. So in her main household account, if she just looks at that account, she actually spent more money than she made this particular month of March. So that's important to see. If we switch over to the savings, you can see all money came in, no money went out. So there was money that came into the savings account. So very different. But if I choose all accounts, I see it all combined. And you can see why it looks, better with all accounts. But I just want you to understand the power of just quickly being able to see this as you move throughout your month, being able to understand, where am I at? Am I winning the race? Where's my money, right? So this is very, very critical to understanding those dynamics. Now, let's go a little bit deeper down here to the next section. I want you to notice here that for this particular month that you choose, this is just awesome. I really love this because this is where I really get a real-time breakdown of what is really going on. That whole question of where's my money? This is a great area to answer that question. I'm literally seeing in real time how money came in and how money has went out so far, right? Now, because we're dealing with March, it's showing the whole month. But if this was in April or the month that you're in, literally as you spend the money every day, it's showing you here by category, right, how much money is being spent. This is what people lose sight of. And they don't see, wow, I'm up to $783 in groceries already this month. So you need to see that. You might want to dial back if you see that, if you can notice it, right? You notice something is adjusting or changing. Now, I can actually click on this food and groceries, right, and actually see what the transaction was and learn more about it. So that's another great thing about these items. Now, it went back to April here. We're going to go back to March. And so you can see, you get a full overview of what is really happening here with your money. So this is extremely important, extremely critical, a really key summary. Now, let's see how things are going just in April, which is more this month. And of course, this is a demo account, but you can see there's a lot less going on here, right? So there's some income that came in, a little bit of investment income came in. Maybe there's a rental property or something that April has, or she has an Airbnb or something. And then you can see some credit card payments went out, an internal transfer, mortgage payment was made. So you can see what's been going on so far, right? So this is just a great, we're only on the home page, right? And there's so much here. There's so much value just to stay on top of your resources and money. Now, I want you just to notice this bottom area down here. Now, I want you to keep in mind, now, one of the things that is very important when you're trying to manage money. So what we want to do is simplify managing money. The key is we don't really want to manage money every day, right? We want to live life. So what we want to do is every day to be able to do a quick check, to see what's going on, anything that's alarming, understand where my money's been spent, get a little alert that, hey, we saw you just spent that money, or, hey, this is what's going on, right? We want those little alerts. I'm going to tell you about more alerts that Money CEO has later on to even let you know if you're going over your financial plan, spending too much or whatever. There's a lot of alerts in here. But at least once a week, right, or there's actually 3 times that in Money CEO that I've built in here that I have found is the optimal way for people to stay on top of their financial situation. So if you can use about 15 minutes a week, right, maybe about 30 minutes a month, you can manage your money in an unbelievable level of expertise using Money CEO. Now, this is a demo account, so it doesn't have all the information. But I want you to have a feel here. If I clicked on weekly review, it doesn't show the information here because we use some manual bank accounts to kind of demo this. But normally, if I was adding real accounts, you would see the balances of your bank accounts, your credit cards, your investments as it stands right now. You would see any transactions that happened this week. And this is a great opportunity to make sure Money CEO is pretty smart. So when it sees something, it will categorize your restaurant as dining and restaurant, for example, right? But if something was wrong for some reason, this is your chance to correct it, right? So you might want to take this cable bill, that's at phone and internet, and say, actually, this is something that I'm doing at my office that is a business expense. And I could change that to a business expense here, right? So this gives you a chance to make any last adjustments. Now, why is this important? The reason this is important is because the way you categorize things, Money CEO is smart. And every single category feeds the coaching algorithms that will help make sure it gives you the right advice on how to manage your money the best way, what you're doing well, what you're not doing so well. And we'll get to that in a different episode. But I want you to understand the categorization is so important because through these categories, we can determine what type of spending you're doing. Is it need spending? Is it want type of spending? How much money is going to different categories of spending? So the categories is a very big secret to how Money CEO works. So every week, you want to make sure that those categories are accurate. If you don't make sure they're accurate, your coaching won't be accurate, and the things that you learn won't be accurate. So you want to take the time to do that. It'll also show you any bills, right, that you have this week and any bills that are up and coming next week. So, look, it didn't take me that long to go through this with you, right? I mean, this was just literally like 3 minutes, right? But imagine just being able to quickly say, okay, category looks good. I don't see nothing alarming. Okay, bills, Rocket Mortgage. Okay, my mortgage is coming out next week. Here this shows I've already paid it, actually. I paid it early. So you can actually say that I paid it early, right? And you get credit for that in Money CEO. And then I can see what's coming up next week, right? And exactly when I'm supposed to be paying certain things. So this is, again, the beauty of that. Now, we also, which I won't go in detail here today, but once a month, we do a more comprehensive review, okay? Once a month, we do a comprehensive review where we're actually getting into some things I haven't showed you about yet, but we'll talk about that later. We start evaluating your financial plan. How well did you stay within your financial plan, your budget, right? What you plan to spend what you plan to come in versus what actually came in. What you plan to spend versus what actually came in. We also start seeing, how well you manage things in terms of your dates and your timing. We get into looking at your spending and how much went to your needs versus your wants, your coaching, right? Things regarding your wealth. And we're going to talk about this. We'll come back to this later. And we even allow you to create an action plan. So you can say, action plan, I am going to cancel some of my subscription services to save money, right? Well, actually, I should have put all of that in the notes, right? So that's kind of the details. And the title could be, sorry about that. The title could be Cancel Subscriptions. And here in the notes, need to explore how to save money by canceling subscriptions I no longer need, right? So I can make that note, I can save it, and you can see here, I'm keeping track of this, and I can come back and look at this later on, but this is letting me know in this particular month, this was a note that I made to myself because now I'm starting to think about what I want to do in my action plan because you act different when you actually write it out and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I need to do to really, get on top of some things that I'm seeing that's not good. Now, what's beautiful about this is for March, but I would actually get this in April, in May, right? And you get a notification, and we send you an email and a notification, and you get a nice summary of how you're doing for the week, for the month, and then you can come in here and actually interact with that report. And this helps you stay on top of managing your money. So think about it. Take about 10 to 15 minutes a week to go over your weekly review, right? 30 minutes a month to go over your monthly review, right? If you want to spend more time, you can, but if you spend a good 30 minutes, you will know everything you need to know about your money, where you're at, what you need to do. And we're going to go more through that in some future episodes. So I want you to see, look, we're just dealing with the homepage, right? This is just the homepage, right? So I want to, one more thing before we, maybe we'll end this session and we'll go into some future sessions. And I hope all of you are live, enjoying this. And, because, and I might even in some of these episodes answer some questions. So really, I want y'all to know about Money CEO. A lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of people in the URCL community. And if you are a URCL member, you get access to Money CEO. That is the only way to get Money CEO is you have to be a member of URCL, right? You got to be at least an executive member. But a lot of people don't understand what they have. They don't understand the power of it. So I'm going to be revealing that this week in great detail. So let's go over to the Bills tab just for a moment. And in the Bills tab, right, here's where I can see the total bills I have this month is 10 bills, and they total up to $8,658.15, okay? The bills I have remaining, I'm able to see that. And I can see the credit card balances now, right? This is money that I owe. And I also can see my household account. Now, why did I choose to put these items here? Well, while you're looking at your bills, I want you to be conscious of how your balance is growing in terms of so you can pay off your bills every month and still not be dealing with the balance. You can be making the minimum payment, right? But your balance is kind of growing. So I want you to see that here. When you're in the mindset of paying bills, I want you to think about, where's my credit card balance? How much is all my cards growing, right? Also, I want you to see your household account, because this is the account that you use to pay your bills. So if you start seeing the amount you owe in bills getting higher than what you have to pay those bills, there's a red flag there, right? And sometimes the way our money comes in, it could be, some of us, our money comes in and it goes out. And what Money CEO is going to try to get you to do, and when we get into the coaching, I'm going to show you what Money CEO is trying to drive you to do, to actually have a little bit, more money in your household account than you actually need, so that you always have enough money to pay your bills even before your bills come. That's what it wants to get you to, right? And so it'll coach you to trying to get you there, right? And I'll show you how it does that later on. Now, what you're also able to see is based on the bills you have. You can see a calendar that's actually showing you the different bills you have on different dates. Now, because April, we're looking at a lot of bills that have already been paid. You can see here, these particular calendar dates are green, right? Because they've already been paid. Now, this April 10th is today, so it's a different color, but this actually got paid. We actually did that, acknowledge that in our when we were playing with the review. Here's a bill that's later on in the month, but it was paid early. And here's a bill that's not paid. That's why it's orange, okay? So I could click on that and see I've got a BMW car payment here, and it needs to be paid. All right. So this calendar is awesome. We got another bill down here, right? And you can see the little key down here for paid and unpaid. So you can see here on the 29th, I got another bill that's coming up, right? This is a Xfinity cable bill, right? So this is a quick view to let me see what is going on in my life, what is actually happening in my world. So this gives you a visual overview of that calendar view, but as you scroll down, you can see specifically what is due next week, what is remaining this month, which we kind of learned already, and what bills have I already paid, right? And I can see that I paid those went on the due date, that I paid early. I could also say if there was a bill I paid late or 30 days late, right? So, or I can cancel a bill if I don't have that bill anymore. So this is a great way, right, to set up your bills. And you can even Money CEO. So, when you're using Money CEO and you add all your bank accounts, Money CEO can actually see, here's how you're spending money, right? And it sees what vendors and what categories you're spending money with. And you see where it says bill suggestion. Now, this won't work because I'm in a demo account, but normally, if I was to click on bill suggestion, what it would do, it would show you these are the bills that we suggest these are the transactions that we suggest are probably bills. And so instead of you having to type in what all your bills are, it'll say these are the things, and you can just say, yep, I agree, and it'll move it into your bills area for you, right? So this is just to save you time. It'll suggest, and you could say, well, no, that's a great suggestion, but that's not a bill. And you could say that's not a right one. So Money CEO doesn't get it right all the time, right? But it most of the time, it's going to notice trends of where you're tending to spend money, because when you first upload your accounts, it brings in your information like for the last year or so, right? And so it's seeing all your patterns and it's showing you this is what looks like our bills for you. All right, but look at this bill summary. So this bill summary, and I just added an image here for fun. I think I was on my cell phone kind of preparing for this demo. But you could say now jewelry, if you got a jewelry bill that's reoccurring, that's kind of interesting, right? So we could say for example, I'm going to edit this B&W bill. I'm going to say this is actually a reoccurring bill, right? And I'm going to save it. And one of the things you can do, now keep in mind, all of these different things that you lay out as bills, you can summarize which bills are recurring all the time and which things just kind of happen. You know, it was just something I kind of needed to deal with. You can kind of, determine that, right? You can also, when you're editing, you can add an image, right? And again, we added this image earlier, and I can say I'm going to add this image. Of course, this should be a picture of jewelry, right? But I would add that image and save it, and I would be able to see that image here, right? So these are things you would do to set up all your bills. Now, keep this in mind. Once you set up your bills, once you set it up, you never have to do it again. It remembers it and shows it every month. It knows what your bills are, and all you got to do is monitor what bills you paid or didn't pay, and let Money CEO know, did you pay it on time, did you not? And be honest so you can understand your true position, and this will feed the coaching that you get later on. And this allows you just to stay on top. What are all my bills? How much do they cost? You'll be able to see those things in real time and manage how you are going about paying for those bills and making sure you're staying responsible with those bills. All right. So we have covered so much here in dealing with how to actually see where your money is, understand your bills, right? And what I'm going to go into in the next episode, we're going to get more into the plan tab. And this is where we're going to have some fun understanding how do you set up a financial plan in Money CEO and understand what you're actually doing versus what you plan to do, and how does this all work together to help you manage money in the best way. Now, I hope you all enjoyed that. We talked today about where's my money, and now we are going to get really geared up and fired up for the next episode that we'll be having later this week, and we're going to go deeper into Money CEO. We have just scratched the surface of what Money CEO can do. I want to make sure that you all are confident that if you want to manage your money on autopilot, if you want the mindset of a person that has a wealth advisor or someone that is able to help you improve your credit score, prepare you to buy that home, prepare you to remove your debt in the best way, prepare you to stay on top of your bills, making sure that you manage your money in a way that is actually causing you to be less stressful because you are able to know that the right things are already built into the platform for you, and it will literally tell you when something is off track so that you can live your life and not be worried about money, then this is a solution that you want to find out about. I invite any of you to find out more about that. We probably put a few links out there for you to learn more about that. You can also hear a whole webinar that I teach about money management at moneystopmanagingme.com. Again, that's moneystopmanagingme.com. There's a free webinar I have there about how to manage money that will show you what the principles that this is built on. But we're going to keep walking through this later this week, so make sure you come back. I am Michael Lee Parker, and you have experienced another YouTube episode here on You Are a CEO. Make sure you click subscribe, comment, and share, and let everyone know that we're running the business of ourselves by having the mindset that we are in control of every thought and every decision, and even our financial picture. I'll see you next time.